Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank the organizers for their kind invitation to attend this meeting. And I am happy to have succeeded in the connection, which is not very evident for me. So I want to thank all the technicians for the connection. Well, I want to speak about the origins of ancient Greek shipbuilding, the sewn boats, and their evolution. The origin of the ancient Greek shipbuilding is difficult to determine due to the lack of sufficient precise sources. However, it is likely that the Greek shipbuilding finds its origin in the primitive craft such as rafts made of tree trunks, dugout canoes, reed or papyrus crafts, or even craft of skin assembled on light wooden frame. If some texts or iconographic documents suggest that primitive boats, their evolution towards the evolved vessel of plank assembled remains still largely unknown. It appears, however, according to the testimony of the iconography, that at the beginning of the second millennium BC, Aegean and Minoan boats are already well advanced, as evidenced by a certain diversification of their type. Indeed, in the mid and second millennium BC, shipbuilding is already sufficiently developed to be able to distinguish, from an architectural point of view, the warship of the merchant vessel. Nevertheless, the naval construction technique used in this case remain unknown for this ancient period. For the end of the Bronze Age and the first millennium BC, it was for a long time accepted, according to the testimony of shipwrecks provided by underwater archaeology, that Mediterranean shipbuilding, characterized by a construction of shell-first type, was using for the planking assembly mortise and tenon joints. It is according to this technique that Lionel in 1964 interpreted the construction of the Odysseus boat in Homer's Odyssey. This seemed to be confirmed by the shipwreck of Uluburun, discovered in 1982 on the Turkish coast. Dating back to the end of the 14th century BC, and probably originated from the Levantine coast on a Canaan or Proto-Phoenician context, this wreck presents, indeed, such a system of planking assembled by mortise and tenon joints, also corresponding to an archaic type. Indeed, this system was also found later, this time in a very advanced way, on the Greek shipwreck of Tyrrhenia, discovered in 1965 in Cyprus and dated from the end of the 4th century BC. However, since 20 years, the discovery of several Greek shipwrecks of the archaic period, showing a building system based on assemblies by sewing and lashings, led to fairly challenge this traditional interpretation. As the discovery of other wrecks dating back to the end of the archaic period to the end of the classical era, let's track within the Greek shipbuilding the transition from the archaic system of assembly by ligatures and sewing and to the new assembly system with mortise and tenon joints. Firstly, we have to remember that the existence of sewn boats assembled by sewing is well attested in Greek letters. Thus, the passage of the Homer's Iliad, referring to the poor condition of the Achaean fleet in front of Troy after 10 years of siege, referred directly to rotting of the links of the boat that makes them unfit for navigation. These links clearly correspond to the ligatures of assembly of the hull of the boat, as confirmed by the Latin authors Varro, quoted by Aulus Gellius. It is also on this way, in the light of the discovery of these archaic Greek sewn boats, that is interpreted today the construction of the Odysseus boat according to Homer. That confirms the epithet polydesmon, that means with many links, that Homer used to characterize the Odysseus boat in another passage of the Odyssey. And we have also the testimony of the Latin author Pacuvius, quoted by Verus Flaccus, that the Odysseus boat was assembled with flax ropes. This assembly system is still found in the classical era, in the 5th century BC. This time, according to the testimony of Aeschylus in the Suppliants, referring to a ship assembled with linen ligatures. As we can see, the idea of sewn boat assembled by ligatures was not strange to the ancient Greeks. In 1971 was discovered the shipwreck of Bonporté 1 near Saint-Tropez on the French coast, and the wreck was excavated in 73-74. The boat was loaded with a little cargo of Etruscan and Greek amphorae dated from the 6th century BC. But at the time, the structure of the ship, with a particular framing and a strange assembly system, quite original and quite unknown at the time, was not understood and not identified. The boat was published in 1976 like a Greco-Etruscan or Etruscan boat. Some years later, in 1981, I interpreted the boat's construction like a sewn boat by comparison with sewn boats from ancient Adriatic or Indian Ocean. Then, in 1990, according to the crew artifacts and the amphora analysis, the wreck was recognized and reconsidered like a boat from Greco-Massalian origin instead of Greco-Etruscan or Etruscan one. And this was confirmed in 1993 by the Jules Verne 9 wreck, which is its exact sister ship. So the Bonporté wreck was the first one recognized like a Greek archaic sewn boat, but at the time the boat was not considered like representative of the whole Greek ship construction, but only like a particular and local one in a Massalian context. In 1993, during the excavation of Place Jules Verne, which is close to the old harbor of Marseille, we found a part of the ancient Greek and Roman harbor with 7 ancient wrecks, of which 2 Greek archaic wrecks and 5 Roman. Among the Greek wrecks, the Jules Verne 9 wreck is a characteristic Greek sewn boat. Fortunately, the remains were quite homogeneous, and the sewing was partly preserved thanks to the coat of beeswax and pitch that covered the inside of the hull for watertightness. So, it was possible to build a full-scale research model of the sewing and lashing assembly system of the planking and of the frames in order to better understand the sewing system. Compared to other sewing systems, the Greek one looks very sophisticated. First, we have pre-assembly trenails driven into the thickness of the planks in order to keep the planks in place and to prevent the phenomena of shear. Then we have tetrahedral recesses regularly cut along the edge of the planks, which give rise to oblique channels for the passage of the stitches. The tetrahedral recesses are made to give a great regularity to the sewing and to avoid the sharp angles. The oblique channels are drilled in order to get out just on the lower angle of the seams of the planks to avoid the stitches to emerge outside and to avoid their chafing. Before the sewing, a roll of linen fabric is put over the plank seams for the watertightness. Then, the sewing is made of a triple flat thread according to a schema corresponding to a double clamping turn with a diagonal passage, and this go and back. For 1 meter of sewing, go and back, we need 8 meters of thread for each one. So, for a full sewing of 1 meter, on 1 meter with 3 threads, we need 24 meters of linen threads. Lastly, little pegs are driven inside the channels in order to lock the stitches. We have to note that all the positions of the assembly elements, like trenails, tetrahedral recesses and diagonal channels, are very precisely marked by carpenter marks made with a drying point. The frames are also lashed by linen flax cord braided, which are going through the planking onto diagonal channels and which are going over the back of the frames. Frames have a quite particular shape, characterized by a narrow foot and a round back in order to allow a stronger clamping, and by crenellated foot for the passage of the sewing of the planking. At the end of the construction, a coat of beeswax and pitch of resinous trees was spread over the inside and outside of the hull to ensure its watertightness. The reconstruction studies based on the archaeological drawings, comparative data and research model led us to rebuild a boat of 9 meters 85 in length and 1 meter 88 in width. The boat was a multi-purpose local coastal craft propelled by oars and a square sail of 25 meters square and steered by quarter rudders. The boat was used for light transport of people and goods and for fishing, especially for coral fishing, according to the little bits of red corals found on the coat of wax and pitch. The wood used in the construction is local wood, like oak for the keel and Alepensis pine for the planking and the framing. Everything confirms the local origin of the boat, and by consequence, its construction on a Massalian shipyard. Abandoned before the end of the 6th century BC, boat was built around the middle of the century by the second generation of the Greek Phocian settlers who found Marseille, Massalia, around 600 BC. So, the boat reflects the Greek traditional ship construction in use in the Aegean Sea on the Phocian shipyards. Here, some reconstruction sequence of the preceding replica. First, we have the setting of the keel and the three first strakes according to the shell-first procedure. And we use the steam box and fire to twist and bend the planks on the good shape. This is the first test of sewing assembly system with the way to cut the tetrahedral recesses and to mark the position of the different sewing points. After the three first strakes, we have proceeded to the hull control, and then we have set the floor timbers. And the floor timbers are lashed to the planking. After new hull control, we have set the futtocks and the transverse beam for the quarter rudders. And you can see the sewings of the planking and the lashing of the floor timber, the frames. Here is the end of the construction with the setting of the masthead timber, which is fit on the back of floor timbers. And then we have put in place the beams and then the top ribs in between the floor timbers. And we have set a 4.5 bridge, little bridge. This is a reconstruction, hypothetical reconstruction. And then here is some view of the rigging with a square sail with brails and the equipment of the boat with the quarter rudders and the stone ballast. There was a river stones set in bag in the bottom of the hull. We have set 720 kilogram of ballast. And there is some view of the sea trials in the Bay of Marseille. Today, the same characteristics are found on several shipwrecks, all dated of the 6th century BC and belonging to the same Greek archaic sewn boat tradition, like Jules Verne 9 and Bonporté 1. The first one is a Giglio wreck found in the Isola del Giglio in the Tyrrhenian Sea in Italy. And the ship was considered like a Greco-Oriental ship according to this cargo and the crew artifacts. Then we have the Babouche-Bournou wreck found on the Ionian coast of the Aegean Sea in Turkey, with a cargo of Greco-Ionian amphorae of the 6th century BC. Then we have the wreck of Cala San Vicente, found on Mallorca Island on the Baleares in Spain, but of Massalian origin according to its crew artifacts and cargo. From an architectural point of view, all these Greek sewn boats of Jules Verne 9 type can be characterized by a round transversal section, a keel without rabbet, except on the extremities of the steam and stern post, a sewn planking with characteristic tetrahedral recesses and diagonal channels, lashed frames, frame with a round back and a narrow crenellated foot, a framing made of floor timber with buttocks assembled by a hook scarf tre-nailed and alternated with top rib or top frames. The room between the floor timber is very large, about 90 centimeters, that is to say about 3 Greek feet. We have cross beams fitted on the extremities of the floor timbers and a masted timber fit on the floor timber. With Jules Verne 9 and Bonporté 1 wrecks, it is in all 5 shipwrecks of the same type, which are known today, all dated of the 6th century BC, and all from Greek origin. Indeed, they correspond to all the Greek shipwrecks of the archaic period found until now. The second Greek shipwreck of Marseille, Jules Verne 7, abandoned near Jules Verne 9 at the end of the 6th century BC in the same context, is characterized by a mixed system of assembly with mortise and tenon joints, sewing and nailing. The wrecks correspond to a first transitional step in the evolution from the sewing tradition to the mortise and tenon technique in the Greek context. Both boats, Jules Verne 9 and Jules Verne 7, are issued of similar Massilian shipyards according to the presence of the same carpenter marks on the hull. In Jules Verne 7, the main part of the planking is now assembled by mortise and tenon joints. The mortise and tenon pattern is large enough and the tenons are very narrow. These characteristics are quite typical of an early stage of this type of assembly. But we still have original sewings at the extremity of the hull, on the keel extremities, which are now rabbeted on about 1 meter at each end, and on the stem and stern posts, which are also fully rabbeted. The sewing technique is also used for all the repairs that are quite numerous, either to repair a defective joint, either to repair a split on a plank. This proves that repairs according to the mortise and tenon assembly system are still not mastered at the time, and this will not be made before the end of the 1st century BC, as evidenced by the Kyrenia wreck. Frames are now nailed by iron nails, but the top frames are tre-nailed and still lashed, but only on their foot. However, the morphology of the frames is always similar to the previous one, while they are no more lashed but nailed. The general hull shape, with a round transversal section, and the structure are quite similar to the former Jules Verne 9 type. 3 other shipwrecks belong to the same Greek sewn boat family and to the same transitional step of this first phase of evolution, like Jules Verne 7. It's the Villeneuve-Bargemont 1 wrecks, also called César 1, found in Marseille, near Place Jules Verne and dated to the end of the 6th century BC. We have also the Gela 1 wreck found in Sicily and dated to the early beginning of the 5th century BC by Attic ceramics, and the Grand Ribot F, found at the Presqu'île de Gien near Hyères in France, and dated to the early beginning of the 5th century BC. This last wreck was loaded with a main cargo of Etruscan amphora from Caere, but all the architectural characteristics of the hull are quite similar to Jules Verne 7 and are quite typical of the Greek construction. So, the ship clearly belongs to the Greek family of ships and to the same evolution phase as Jules Verne 7. A second phase of, this is the distribution of the first evolution phase or transitional step with Jules Verne 7, César 1, and Gela and Grand Ribot F. A second phase of evolution is well attested in the mid and second half of the 5th BC by two other Greek shipwrecks. The Gela II wreck in Sicily, found in Sicily of the mid-century BC, and the Magan Michael wrecks of
Patrice, do you hear us? We don't hear you. Patrice, we don't hear you. Ναι. Τι κάνουμε? Μπορούμε να κάνουμε κάτι, μπορούμε να το ξανακαλέσουμε εμείς.
Δεν το κάνουμε, δεν μας δίνουμε μεταξύ απευθείας.
Αλλά?
Συνήθως ένα σερβερ.
Ωραία.
Και οι δυο. Μόνο αν έχουμε και κάποιο τηλέφωνο, κάτι μπορούμε να το κάνουμε.
Τηλέφωνο. Ναι. Δεν έχουμε τηλέφωνο, έχουμε mail.
Ναι, στο ίδιο ήταν.
Mark, do you have his telephone number? Mobile. Να τον καλέσουμε και τι να του πούμε.
Αν είναι σταθερό, κάτι γίνεται με κινητό.
Τι εννοεί σταθερό κινητό?
Ποιο φορές καλείς κινητό, κάνει σταθερό τηλέφωνο, παρά κινητό.
Δεν ξέρω.
His mobile phone number is here.
This is
His mobile phone.
His mobile. Να τον καλέσουμε στο mobile.
Yes, so first of all, 33 for France, 0033.
Okay.
And then 662.
33 06.
The first, okay, no zero, 6 directly. 33 662.
662.
63.
63.
80.
80.
44.
Okay. Και τι να του πω, what we should say? I don't know.
Is it a network problem or a software problem? Maybe he did something...
Bad connection, but I don't know. Τι ακριβώς να το πούμε?
Τι έγινε, τι αποσυνδέθηκε. Δεν έχουμε κάτι άλλο. Και να ξαναπροσπαθήσει να συνδεθεί.
Hello, Patrice. We lost you. That was in figure 18, a second phase of evolution. But now we are not connected. Do you try to connect again? Try to connect again. Okay. Yes. The last one, you start a second phase of evolution is well attested in the middle of the second half of the 15th century, and you saw the Magal Mikael and the Zela too. Hello? You?
Ας προσπαθήσουμε να βάλουμε στο κουμπάκι να συνδεθεί, γιατί μπορούμε να τα λέμε επιλογές.
Ναι.
Αυτό είναι το βασικό.
Περιμένουμε λίγο ακόμα να μπας και συνδεθούμε και αν δεν γίνει τίποτα θα ολοκληρώσουμε εδώ. Δυστυχώς
Alors, j'espère que ça marche. Oui. Yes, me too. It was difficult, but I succeed. Okay. So I have to stop the camera. Yes, yes. It's okay?
No, we don't see the PowerPoint.
And now? Do you see it? It's okay?
No,
A second, yes.
camera, we don't see the PowerPoint.
Just a second.
Can you, yes, minimize this, okay.
Oh. Oh merde. I'm sorry.
Το ανοίγω και αυτό το μικρόφωνο, αλλά τι άλλο πρέπει να του πούμε.
Okay.
Yes, yes, okay,
And now?
yes. And now you
It's
go
good.
to the Magan Mikael shipwreck.
Alors, when I start again,
If you go to your figure 18, the Magan Mikael shipwreck.
okay. Alors, ecco.
Γιατί δεν πηγαίνει.
It's okay?
No, we just see your first page, not the right page.
You don't see the... Oh. You are not on the good one? I am on the Magan Michael.
Okay, we don't see it though, so we have this problem again. Okay, we saw now the Kirinia ship. Yes.
Yes, but it's not the good one.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Yes, here is Magan Michael. Okay?
Fine, yes. Please go on.
Okay. It's okay?
Yes.
You have
it
a
is-
map?
It
Yes.
is fine, yes.
You have a map with Magen Michael and Gela 2. It's okay?
It is the Magen Michael Gela 2, yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm sorry, I start again.
Please.
A second phase of evolution is well attested in the mid and second half of the 5th century BC by two other Greek shipwrecks. The Gela 2 wrecks in Sicily of the mid 5th century BC and the Magen Michael wreck of the end of the 5th century BC. This last one was found on the Israeli coast with a stone cargo from Cyprus. The ship was probably built on the Ionian coast according to the wood supply. The mortise and tenon assembly is more and more important, while the sewing is now residual and limited to the sewing of the dead wood on each extremity, and also for repairs. The frames are nailed with copper nail, and their morphology is coming squarer. The general hull structure is similar to the former one, but the hull shape is evolving and the transversal section present now a wine glass shape with a protuberant keel. Finally, the end of the evolution of the Greek ship construction is evidenced by the Greek Kyrenia shipwreck, sunk in Cyprus at the turn of the 4th and 3rd century BC, with a main cargo of Rhodian amphorae. This shipwreck marked not only the end of the Greek stone boat tradition, but also the beginning of the full mortise and tenon tradition of the Hellenistic and Roman Republican period. Doing so, the Greek tradition joins the Phoenico-Punic tradition, which is quite similar. On the Kyrenia, the sewing has vanished and attested only on a reused sealing plant. This strong evidence gives us a strong link with the former sewn Greek tradition. Otherwise, the keel is now fully reverted. The framing system is composed of square floor timbers alternated with hull frames, both being prolonged by independent futtocks. We have to note that the hull frames are, in fact, issued from the former top ribs. All frames are copper-nailed through 3 nails. The cross beams are now fitted on stringers, but the masted timber is always fitted on the floor timbers. The transversal section presents a wine glass section, like on the former Magen Michael boat. Until now, all the Greek ships evidenced by the shipwrecks between the archaic period and the beginning of the 6th century BC to the end of the classical period and the end of the 4th century BC, which represents a dozen of wrecks spread over all the eastern and western Mediterranean, belong to the same tradition of shipbuilding and present different steps of evolution, from the archaic system of assembly by sewing and lashings to the new system of assembly by mortise and tenon joints. As a whole, this transition takes about 2 centuries, from the end of the 6th century BC to the end of the 4th century BC. Due to the weakness of the sewing system of assembly, and on the other hand, the greater strength of the mortise and tenon joint system, the consequences of the transition from the former system to the second one are very important. First, we have now stronger hulls and by consequence ships of greater longevity. So we can note an increasing of the ship's size and of their tonnage. Lastly, we have more elaborated hull shapes, with wine glass section, with double curve and protuberant keel, but also reverse steam post with cutwater like on Matraque de Géant wrecks, and we have also new ship types. It is very likely that the development of the Greek trireme, which appears in the 7th century BC but which is used in war fleets not before the end of the 6th century BC, precisely at the time of the transition between the screwing system to the mortise and tunnel one, is precisely due to this fundamental change. This evolution has also allowed the fantastic race to the gigantism of the fleets of the war and trade of the Hellenistic period, with the development of giant ships like the super galleys of 40 of Ptolemy IV or the super freighter Syracusia of Hieron II of Syracuse. If the technical reasons for this change are quite obvious, the circumstances are more difficult to determine. It is likely that the increasing of the demand for ships of more and more important capacity due to the economic expansion of the end of the 6th century BC, consecutive to the Greek colonization, is one of the main reasons. And it is very possible that the change was done by following the example of the Phoenico-Punic shipbuilding tradition, which used successfully with the mortise and tunnel system of assembly since a very long time, if we consider that the origin of the jointing system appears as early as the 14th century BC in a Proto-Phoenician context. If we accept that the Greek shipbuilding is characterized at its origin by the systematic use of the sewing system of assembly, then it must be admitted that the ancient shipbuilding is not univocal and has experienced several different traditions corresponding to various cultural contexts, what in the end is hardly surprising. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for the problems, yes.
It's okay. Thank you very much, Patrice Pomey. It was very nice. Now, I don't know if you like to have some questions.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Κάποιες ερωτήσεις ή κάποια σχόλια θέλετε να κάνετε? Ναι. Κύριε Τζάλα, ο κύριος... Okay. There is a question from Haris Jalas.
Yes.
He asked if you are going to make another experiment with a bigger boat, the Jules Verne 7.
Oh, yes, I would like, but the problem is to find the money. You know the problem. And it was very difficult to raise a fund for the Jules Verne 9, the little boat. And I'm afraid it will be more and more difficult to raise a fund for the bigger one. So I'm a little pessimist. And maybe it will be for the young generation.
Patrice, can you open your camera now?
Oh, yes, I close the...
You close the PowerPoint.
Yeah, the PowerPoint. Okay.
Any other question? Έχετε καμιά άλλη ερώτηση?
Yes, it's okay.
Yes, thank you. We see you very clear.
Thank you. I see you too.
Okay. I have a question. Can you tell us some more first results about the experiments with Gyptis and
yes.
What was the experiment of sailing or rowing this boat?
Well, the experience, the result of the experience from the building point of view, was very, very important. It proves the possibility to build a boat according to the full shell-first way and with sewings. And we have to solve different problems like how to twist and bend the planks without the help of a mold or without frames. And after different trials, we succeed to do it. So it's quite possible, and it is very interesting. And also we have been able to answer a lot of questions that we asked before without to know the answer. But on to the building of the replica, we have been able to answer to a lot of questions on different particularity of the shipbuilding, and especially for the sewing and the, how to fit the planks and so on. From the sailing point of view, the good surprise was the stability of the boat. At the beginning, we were a little afraid because we don't have keel, or the keel is very little, and we have a round bottom, and we were a little afraid about the stability of the boat. But in fact, the boat is very sensitive to the displacement of the people on board. But once the boat is on his lines, she is very, very stable. And we have been able to sail under oars. It's easy to move the boat at about 2-3 knots by oars, and by sails we have reached currently 5 knots, and until 7 and 8 knots, but on very specific conditions with strong wind ahead, not back, and so. And a good surprise also was the efficiency of the quarter rudders, and we used only the rudder under the wind, and we used only one, but the rudder is very sensitive, and once we are trained to use it, it works very well. But we have also to do more trials in order to better understand the way to use the brace of the sails. And we plan for the next month to do a lot of tests using the sail in different configuration in order to better understand the way of working the brails.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
The boat is very light. It's the boat is 750 kilograms, and we have the same, more or less the same weight of ballast. So we have also 720 ballast ton inside.
I see.
And the boat is sailing with until 12 persons on board.
Thank you.
Yes?
Yes, another question from Professor Pieros Karidis.
Αν παρατηρείτε αλλαγή στο πάχος των σανίδων του πετσώματος όταν μεταβαίνουμε από το δετό πλοίο στο οποίο έχει δημόσια τέμιση.
Yes. There is a question from Professor Karidis. He asked if there is a change in the width, in the thickness of the planks when you go from the sewn boats to the boats with mortise and tenons. What about the thickness of the plank?
It's quite the same. On the Gyptis, the planks are 2.5 centimeters of thickness. And on the Jules Verne 7, we have more or less the same thickness for the planking, with planks between 2.5 and 3 centimeters. The difference is more according to the dimension of the boat, but more or less the planks are of the same thickness. It's the same also for Mag and Michael and the others sewing boats, internal mortise boats. So the planking is about 2.5 and 3 centimeters of thickness.
And another question from me again. Haris Jalas told us in the previous presentation that you took part in the experiment of Kyrenia 2.
Yes, I remember.
So, can you make any comparison between these two experiences as a member of the Kyrenia 2 experiments and the performance of the behavior of Kyrenian 2 and now the behavior of Protis or Gyptis?
Yes, in my opinion, it's quite different. It will be nice to do a race in between the both ships. But no, it's quite different because boats are very, very different. Gyptis is it's a little coastal boat, about 10 meters long and very light, and Kyrenia is a larger trumpers. So the difference is very, very important, and the sailing is the sensation of sailing is quite different between both boats. Kyrenia is quite larger, heavier, and the sensation is quite different. The feeling is quite different, and Gyptis is very, very light boat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay, Patrice, we thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you very much.